Okay, I'm going to do the short intro. Okay, I'm going to stop the intro because we have Richard and Robin. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, we had a little technical. We were on the wrong Wi-Fi.
Oh.
It was like,
No worries.
what was happening? We got that straightened out.
I actually tripped Richard and he dropped the computer, but he's up and around again.
Awesome.
Hi, Leo. Hi, Patsy. Nice to meet you.
Same here. We're my brain.
Your brain?
Yeah, my brain. We're going to be talking about brains. Since we got everything going, I'm going to throw it over to Patsy if you want to do some intros. And,
Get the brain in the background.
We are here tonight. We are joined by Richard Gasparian and Robin Nuyen of Housesitter. Oh man, this is a film. This is a film that I absolutely was very excited about when Leo told me about it first, because it has probably the best title. So I called it Housesitter, but the full title is Housesitter: The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain. And I want to welcome you guys because you were not only in it, but you wrote and directed it as well. So thank you for joining us.
We co-wrote it, we co-produced it, and Robin directed it, and I started it.
Yeah. And I very much enjoyed it. I would like to say I love how you guys live dangerously with the fire right above all the books there.
Is it too warm? Because we can...
It's a little toasty, but as long as you guys are comfortable, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I actually don't know why we have a fire going with all the terrible fire shit going on in the state, but there was a chill in the air, and I know Richard talks better when he's a little warm. So
Yeah.
Richard and I wrote the script together, and I'm not sure how much you've read in the bio stuff or what you've read, but we wrote the script together and decided to make the movie, so we wrote it, and then we're like, well, I guess we're going to make it too. And then as time went on, I ended up directing it. And like I say, Richard starred in it. And 34 years later, here we are with a DVD release and some streaming coming up. And it's kind of I don't know. I don't think Boyhood has anything on us as far as how long it takes to make a movie.
Well, so what's is that something you guys would like to talk about? You know, what happened?
Well, you see, when we made the movie, the black and white, about a third of the movie is black and white, the Mad Scientist Laboratory. And that's an homage to the 50s and 60s sci-fi. So the rest of the movie is 80s horror. And I said to Robin, if we finish the movie now, then it's just 80s horror. But if we wait 30 years, then it becomes an homage to 80s horror. So we've got an homage to 80s horror and an homage to 50s, 60s sci-fi. So it's kind of part of the plan. It's just...
It was kind of like the Brinks robbery. You couldn't talk about it for 30 years, knowing you had this ace in your hole that you're going to sit on a movie in a vault for 30 years and then bring it out and spring it on people.
What the hell is NDA you must have got going there? I have to say, I really enjoyed that the black and white aspect, especially that one fourth wall break when it's like, okay, positive is red and the negative is black. Oh, but it's so hard in black and white to tell the difference.
Right.
Yes, Doc does break the fourth wall a few times.
I loved it. It was,
he was our college professor. He directed both of us in plays at Western Michigan, where we both graduated from. And we had a relationship with him where we both traveled to New York with him to go see theater in New York while he was our professor. So he was our professor, but he became a really good friend.
And he was a professional actor.
So we started writing the script. We both saw David in the role, just like, oh, if this is for David, And I just love him in the role. I mean, he's Doc. He has a lot of fun with it. And I think that's what shows up as what a good time he is having being Doc.
Well,
I definitely. Sorry, Lee. I was going to say I definitely get a Jeffrey Combs vibe from him. Like a Reanimator type.
Yeah.
Right.
So I do have the trailer. So we both seen the movie. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. I'm dying to see what you think about it, Patrick. But let me run the trailer for people that are watching now. We'll play it a couple times throughout the evening. But here we go. Here's Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain.
In 1987, a motion picture was filmed. That was so shocking, it was never released. Now, 32 years later, the world is ready. Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain.
Crossover brain retention is not a dream.
The doc is having a party, and it's BYOB. Bring your own brain.
I need more brains.
Human brain experimentation?
This is all a game to you.
It is a game, and I play with myself.
Who are you to decide what's good for man?
I possess the knowledge. Look a little strung out tonight.
Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain.
Don't get weak now, Swords. There isn't time.
If you play hard to get, then you won't have anything hard to play with.
50s style terror. Shot in the 80s. And completed now. A film 32 years in the making.
Oh, you cannot rush the process.
Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain.
The world will finally know.
Coming soon. For real.
Absolutely love it. So let's hear what you thought about it, Patrick.
I thought it was definitely well cut together. It did have one of my favorite kills in there, and there were a lot of really good ones. But talking to the guy who's smoking, and when he slices his throat, smoke comes out. Like, I thought that was brilliant. I loved that scene. There was I don't think anything I didn't like about this movie, except the fact that it didn't come out till just now. And this is definitely one that we would have seen at the little video store up the street from us, Burncoat Video, when we were renting stuff like the Making of Thriller or the Monster Squad. This is definitely something that I would have taken home with me. This was a lot of fun. I thought it was incredibly well written. I thought the comedic aspect as well as the serious aspect they were balanced so well. Like nothing felt extra or tacked on. Like I was taking notes during it. Like it gave me what did I say in my notes? It gave me Rocky Horror / Phantom of the Paradise / Young Frankenstein vibes.
I mean, you're what you're doing is you're mentioning all the things that inspired us. We, all those movies for sure. Roger Corman, you could just the list. I mean, these are all the things that inspired Robin and I to make this movie.
And certainly thinking we always pulled it off, but just watching other people's movies, you realize what a fine line it is to have the horror and the comedy. And sometimes it worked for us, sometimes it didn't, but it sure is fun when it does, And then the other, when you were talking about the head slicing murder, I think one of the reasons that I love that one so much is there's this real beginning, middle, end. There's a little bit of a relationship as much as you can have in that kind of fleeting thing. And then he talks to him about his IQ. And then Richard and I both, when we were writing the script, we would do the sound effects along with the murders. And I remember we would do the slice of the slice, and then we would do the of the smoke coming out, and then we do the rip of the head coming off. And it was such a perfect example of setup, execution, finish it up, not just visually, but sound-wise. And I think the things that, at least for me, the things I enjoyed working on more turned out better because you can get that sense of fun of something where you're going, boy, I really like this scene, And that was a favorite for sure, is the head coming off.
I think, Doc needs 13 brains for his brain pyramid in the lab. So there's at least 13 murders, but there's a few others that, of course, have to happen for a variety of reasons. So I think one of the funnest things is sitting around trying to come up with creative or funny or interesting ways to, off people. So.
Garage door murder, up to the garage. Then from the time we wrote it till we were getting the film, it had been done like 4 times since that period of time. So we took that one out.
Well, I think you did really well as far as creating, especially in that era where there were so many different slashers coming out. All the sequels to Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, where they were really pushing the envelope on kind of crazy stuff that you could do, like Jason smashing a girl against a tree in a sleeping bag, like all kinds of like wacky things. And it was so well. I liked the needle, and I'm not going to spoil anything, so I just want to kind of talk about stuff that we got to see in the trailer there. So the needle through the mouth thing, that was good. I liked that, kept the brain intact. All these. It's almost like the reverse of a zombie film, where like you want to do everything except destroy the head or the brain.
Right. Yeah. It was certainly even there's a couple of lines during the course when they're putting a head down, like careful, the brain. It's like it's all about protecting that membrane of the brain. But really enjoyed that we had people that all talked together and had a relationship, and it really felt like they brought the relationship they had off stage to what they had on stage. Cora and the other mad scientist are married in real life, and it was just a lot of fun to have that dynamic on set.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like everybody was having a good time. Like it didn't seem like the chemistry was forced. It seemed like everybody was just having fun. Everybody was, friends for real.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
When you're filmmaking, the shooting part is always the icing on the cake. Anyway, it's all that hard prep work and the post-production work that's the most difficult. And shooting the movie, Oh, that's just fun. That's just a lot of fun. It's hard work, but it's fun.
So you guys shot everything back in, I believe it was 87, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Now, was any editing done, or did you digitize everything and edit everything recently? What was the process?
If you want, I'll tell you the whole story.
Oh, totally.
Don't tell that one part though.
It's his fault. That's why the movie took 30 years. No, the original script called for us to put 13 kids in a little ranch-style house in the San Fernando Valley, Los Angeles. We decided to go back to Kalamazoo to shoot, and we got this castle, Henderson Castle, which is the coolest house in Kalamazoo. It sits up on the hill. It's from the turn of the previous century, and it made the movie. The movie got big. It got really big. Our production value went up, and we just went with it, and we held on for dear life and rode that horse. And what it did is it ate up our budget, and we got through principal photography and kind of out of money. So we knew we had something good on our hands. So we set about trying to put some kind of rough cut together, and then we put a 20-minute teaser reel together, and we took it out and we tried to find finishing money and distribution. And we were first-time filmmakers, and that's a treacherous world out there with first-time filmmakers. So we would find people that loved our thing, and they said, well, we don't have any money to give you, but when you're done, please bring it back to us. Or then we find people say, sure, we'll give you the money for the movie, but you got to give us the movie. So it was difficult for us. And we went through a string of people. We had some offers, and they were all these, give us your movie, and we didn't want to do it. We ended up at the last company, and we came to agreement. They were going to AFM. They were going to rep us and do foreign sales. And was coming down, and just before AFM, they did the old bait and switch and gave us this contract that was taking our movie away. And we said, we can't sign it. And they said, then we don't have a deal. And we said, okay. And then the door was closed. And our personal lives at this point, we were putting years into this movie. We had to get back to our personal lives. And we thought this movie would be one of the many, many films that were shot and never completed. There's a boatload of those. And we, over the years, would say to each other, Robin went his way, I went mine. We would say, we got to get back to the movie. We got to get back to the movie. And then a few years ago, he's on the Disney lot, and our laboratory that processed our film and had the last place we knew our negative was across the street. So one day at lunch, a friend of his encouraged him to go over, and they went into the lab, and they said, hey, you don't happen to have this movie from 1987? And sure enough, they did. And so Robin called me and he said, guess what I have? I have our negative. It was that rough cut that we had put together back in the day. So I immediately took it out and got a 4K transfer made, and then we're in business. Then we got about, set about finding Skywalker to do the sound and Paramount to do the color correction in the picture. But once we had the negative and digitized it, then we could do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, across the street until now has been 4 years.
So we while we were finishing it, we both working a full-time job. So we're doing this on the side, and then working up at Skywalker. We were on the friends and family plan there. So we were a little bit at their beck and call. So we were like, that's fine. It was on a side note, if you ever want to really, really genuinely feel like a filmmaker, is go up and work at Skywalker. I mean, was that not the most amazing thing? I mean, it was, they're doing Star Wars in the next studio. It was just amazing.
We were very lucky.
We were very lucky. And then we finished the movie and started doing some film festivals. And then we found our distributor, Leo Mark Studios. And here we are.
Excellent.
In the back there.
Yeah, if you I mean, I wouldn't have an issue working at Skywalker. Like, if they're hiring, I'll head down there.
Yeah, Richard's making it sound like, hey, if you get a chance to go to the moon, you should check it out. It's kind of cool.
You guys are making it sound super.
Yeah,
I know.
And I'll get $1 million on my way.
I'm just saying it was
Very cool.
an amazing experience. That it just.
Oh yeah, man, like to go from. Like, oh, we put this together, like we put it all, because obviously this is long before the days of crowdfunding and social media and stuff like that.
Right.
To put all of your finances into it and to get to the point where we're like, all right, we finished it, but what are we going to do? And then like all of a sudden, like, yeah, so then we went to Skywalker and they took care of us. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, it took 30 years, but,
Well, I mean, I literally met him at an outdoor patio at the studio and just started talking to him. And right about the same time I'm talking to him was the time I got the movie out of the vault over there at Photochem, and just talking for a minute and him talking. I said, I've been here a long time. I've never seen you before. Now I've seen you 3-4 weeks in a row. What's your deal? And he said, well, I'm working across the street on a movie, Pirates of the Caribbean '89. And I said, oh, that's pretty crazy. And then I said, oh, I just got a film out of the vault. And he, how's the sound? I go, it sucks. And he watches a clip from it that I had on my phone. And then I gave him the movie. And then he comes back and he goes, I really want to help you guys. This is a cool story. 30 years later, it's a cool movie. The sound does suck. I said, how can we, what can we pay you? He goes, you could never afford me. I'll give you, as Richard said, the family and friends discount. And he was just going to do the murders in the laboratory. And we ended up going to Skywalker, and he redid, all redid the entire film, all 95 minutes.
It was
cleaned up everything, put in the new effects, did more zings and zangs and buzzes. And he just, like everybody, fell in love with it, going, this is cool, and it deserves this really cool sound. And then Paramount got a hold of it, and it was like, wouldn't it be great if we could match a really great picture with this really great sound? And that's exactly what happened. It's like, holy fuck. It was great. And I used to tell people, they'd go, what's the problem? I go, well, you can't see it or you can't hear it. And if you're trying to watch a movie, those two things seem to get in the way of the enjoyment factor. Yeah. So now you can see it and you can hear it, and we're really, really happy about it.
Well, sound really makes the movie, though, because we've seen some excellent movies that you could tell that the sound editing just wasn't up to par, and it really throws you out. It takes you out of it.
There's nothing worse than that. I made a couple of years ago. I made a short with my wife, and the highest paid guy on the set was the sound man, because we got the best guy we could afford. You're right. You don't hear it. Then you're out of it.
Yeah, and it's hard to come back. It's hard to get them back. I mean, I'm watching big budget movies on Netflix or Amazon, and I can't tell you how many times my wife and I go, did you hear that? Can you hear this? Yeah. And after a while, it's just like, I'm not going to deal with it. I change the volume or whatever, but it's not that. It's just doesn't sound good. Can't hear it.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you how many I've had to jack my volume on my TV. My wife and I are watching something, and it's like I can't hear it, and we put the volume all the way up, like level 100, and you still struggle to hear it.
And then the music
get that it's on.
So what exactly is your guys' gig? I mean, you're horror sci-fi movie fans, and then you watch movies and talk to people about them?
Oh, yeah.
I'm really asking seriously. I just, this is a podcast?
Correct. Actually, we have several on the network, and actually I think you guys are going to be on another show coming up, the Still Token With. I'm pretty sure you guys are scheduled for that. They're also on the network as well. Okay. So I run the Dorkening Podcast Network. It's 30 shows, and I produce, I think, like 5 of them. And then Patrick has a handful of shows as well. And,
nice.
Yeah, I have, I do this with Leo, and then I have, if you look on the other side, right here, Throwdown Thursday is the show I do with my wife. I'm the shark, she's the witch. We do all kinds of different characters. We talk the way some people break down movies. We break down the characters within your favorite movies and video games and books and whatnot. This week we have Hannibal Lecter that we're doing. And
nice. Well, we'll find you guys online and follow you for sure.
Excellent. That would be awesome. And I just started a sports show with my brothers. So I think we're on our 6th or 7th episode coming up this week.
Sports?
So,
are they playing sports these days? A little bit.
Yeah. Most of the seasons are over. Baseball's getting close. Basketball just finished last night. Hockey's been over for a couple weeks.
Yeah. Go Lakers. Sorry. I mean,
don't bother me none.
Well, sometimes Richard gets wound up. I'm glad we're, a TV apart, a monitor apart.
What do you mean by that?
Don't want no trouble. So what kind of movies are you doing right now?
Magic and
during this shutdown, are you guys, what kind of movies can you recommend to Richard and myself that you've seen outside of Housesitter, ... The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain?
Well, there's a new one that just came out that I recommend if you are into psychological type horror films called Anonymous Killer. That one's new, just dropped on Amazon. It's streaming there. I also recommend, and I can't recommend them highly enough because it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, and they're absolutely amazing folks. It's free on Tubi. It's called Bad CGI Shark. It's,
I'm sorry,
like
Bad
I said,
CGI Shark? Okay.
Bad CGI.
I think I've heard of that.
I'll have to tell my youngest daughter she's a shark movie.
It's right up there.
Yep, that poster right there, signed by the cast because we had them on our show a couple times. And like I said, it's one of the funniest movies you'll ever see. And they did it on a shoestring budget themselves, like $5,200. It's really well done, especially for the budget.
Sure.
So I would recommend those two right off the bat.
Yeah. Well,
Anonymous Killers and Bad Shark.
We're a low budget movie certainly by Hollywood standards. Maybe bigger budget than something like that, but we shot on 35 millimeter. So, in 1987, making a movie was way more involved than now. I mean, really, now you just need an iPhone and a laptop, and you're good to go. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. We didn't have that technology.
Yeah, it's a lot more. I think it lends itself now. A lot of filmmakers. We saw a great one last year from a first-time filmmaker. Her name's Erica Stockwell, and she did a film called Firstborn, and it was a short story that she had written. And she was like, well, it's pretty good, but like nobody wants to read, so I guess I'll make it into a movie. And it blew me away. It was like 7 minutes long, and it's amazing.
Wow.
So I think we get to see more of that, more of these people who have this creativity, but otherwise wouldn't be able to express themselves through the medium like 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
No,
absolutely.
It's great. It's opened up avenues that people were in a position to make a film before, which is, and like you're saying, I mean, stories need to be told, and there's a lot of stories to tell.
That same technology we're talking about enabled us to finish the movie. Like I said, I could recut the movie at my kitchen table. Once we had the digital version, then I could just, in 1987,
we had a moviola
and a flatbed and an editing suite
and hanging film from clothespins.
It was a awkward ordeal.
Yeah, long, arduous process that has been streamlined by technology. So, as much as, we see these advancements in technology, and a lot of them can be stupid. I'm looking at you, the selfie stick. A lot of them have given us the opportunity to see the creativity, especially with independent creators, which is what this show is all about. We get to see so many people expressing themselves creatively in a way that, mainstream movies don't always give you, because it's like, well, we have to follow this particular formula, and like you were saying, you didn't want to give up control of your film because this is your film, your vision, you created this, You don't want somebody else coming in and telling you how you are going to express yourself creatively. So I think that this has really been a boon to the independent creator industry, whether it's writing or acting or directing. Filmmaking in general has really allowed you to not only get your work out there, but people like I'm hoping that somebody can see my film, so I'm going to put it on YouTube, or I'm going to share it on social media, and I'm going to use a specific hashtag. Like everything that you see behind me, all these posters, all these things, these are all independent creators, and I put their art up there because I want people to see that and say, hey, what's that? Why is that rabbit drinking a beer? What is that? Yeah, and it's yeah.
I think that this genre also supports exactly what you just said. The sort of horror, what do you call it? Horror genre? I mean, horror sci-fi. It lends itself to that exact thing. It's got a built-in fan base. They're very forgiving, and they're hungry for more material all the time. It's the perfect place for what you just described.
Well, especially now, because right now we're starved for content. The big theaters aren't releasing movies, and now is the time for indie creators to really shine. Because right now we're not getting like a Rambo 7 or something like that. We're getting original stories through these indie creators, and it's awesome. This is where we're getting some of the best stories.
Yeah. You ever wonder, like, how deep into Amazon, how many pages into Amazon deep do you go? There's just movie after movie there. There's so much stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that we're here at this time. This seems like appropriate that people are stuck inside and looking for content.
Yeah, people are tired of the prequel, sequels, spin-off, reboots, like stuff. Like, there's only so many times I can see Batman's origin story in a film.
Don't knock Batman.
Not to say you're not going to watch it again. You're going to watch it again.
Oh yeah.
No, I will see the next one, but what I'm saying is, like, there's only so many times I can see that. Like, Leo and I were just discussing one of the new animated DC programs that came out, and Leo's like, it's all recycled footage from another thing that they put out, but now they're charging you for this one too, and it's like 90% old footage.
Right.
It's like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
I'd much rather watch, go to an independent film festival and see something like my friend's film Strawberry Lane, which is dark and disturbing if that's something you're into, or like I said, Bad CGI Sharks if you want something more lighthearted and funny, stuff that breaks the fourth wall. Like, it's a really good, feel-good film. And there's so many people who now, especially with the quarantine, are experimenting with the different art styles. It's like, oh, well, I've always wanted to do this. I've had the script kicking around for 10 years. Let me try it. And you guys, you're absolutely an inspiration to folks like that, where it's like, persevere, and you have this great idea, you've got this stuff done, you're one step away, and now with this technology you're able to really realize your vision and enhance what you could have done had this film come out when you originally made it. I think it would have been great, but I think some of, like you were saying, some of the 4K upgrade, the sound enhancements, I think that really lent itself to enhancing the film and making it even better.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. That you got it. Yeah, for sure.
So we're gonna play the trailer for the people that are just joining us, and then when we get back, so this is coming out on VOD. Are you getting a physical media release as well, or is it just start talking?
It's available on Blu-ray right now.
Awesome.
And our distributor is telling us, like, any day for streaming. We're like waiting for the call, for a couple of days we've heard any day. So I think what's happening with the pandemic and all that has thrown things off with the platforms, but it's any day. we just so you know, we are across all social media at Siegfried's Brain. Our website is siegfriedsbrain.com, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Siegfried's Brain, YouTube. You'll find us there, and all the information regarding the Blu-ray, and then any streaming updates will be there as well. And then, of course, we'll let you guys know as soon as streaming happens, so you can pass that info on too.
Awesome. We'll definitely do that.
What's nice on the DVD is there's interviews with Cora and Schwarz, or the married couple. There's an interview with a guy who worked at Western. There's a guy who gave us the chance to use the Western stage to build our laboratory, gave us the green room, gave us the costume shop.
They want to run the trailer.
Yeah. And then the person that also gave us the castle. So there's some nice interviews in there.
Deleted scenes. So
awesome. Totally love those. Here we go. Here's a trailer for Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain, available right now on Blu-ray and coming soon on VOD.
In 1987, a motion picture was filmed that was so shocking it was never released. Now, 32 years later, the world is ready. Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain.
Crossover brain retention is not a dream.
The doc is having a party, and it's BYOB. Bring your own brain.
I need more brains.
Human brain experimentation?
This is all a game to you.
It is a game, and I play with myself.
Who are you to decide what's good for man?
I possess the knowledge. A little strung out tonight.
Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain.
Don't get weak now, Schwarz. There isn't time.
If you play hard to get, then you won't have anything hard to play with.
50s style terror. Shot in the 80s. And completed now. A film 32 years in the making.
Oh, you cannot rush the process.
Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain.
The world will finally know.
Coming soon. For real.
I love how there's so many little details, like that's trying to commit suicide while all these murders are happening. Absolutely brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant.
Well, thank you. That's not difficult to listen to. Thank you.
What do you got there, Patrick?
Well, I'm currently following them on Twitter with all 900 of my different Twitter accounts for the different podcasts. So
nice.
I already went to the Facebook group during the trailer. So no, I really enjoyed this film. It definitely gives you some, all of the vibes that you guys are looking for. I will say one thing that kind of caught me off guard was the name of the asylum.
Drunk?
Because for folks who are not aware, that was the original name when a specific family came over from Germany a few generations ago, and actually have a Chrome extension that changes that name to Drump, because that's really what his last name is.
Yes.
Yes. I'm glad you.
It was interesting in 1987.
Yeah.
Well, living in New York in the 80s, I was very, very aware of the grandson of Mr. Drump from Germany.
Drump?
Even though sometimes the grandson Drump doesn't know where his grandparents are done. He's included Ireland, Sweden, and a couple other places. Depending on where he's visiting is where they're from. But every once in a while, somebody does catch that, and I'm glad you caught that. My point of the 80s was grandson Trump was all around New York in the 80s, so it's not that unusual for him to have his name on something back at that point.
And I think that's an appropriate place to have his name.
Exactly.
I think that's where so many of us feel like we belong.
Exactly.
Well, when Michael Jordan was selling tennis shoes, and he said, "Why don't you, speak out against Jesse Helms and some of his policies?" He said, "Republicans buy tennis shoes too." So maybe by having Trump, we've lost half our audience. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it's
Patrick. You're the first one that's mentioned it.
Really?
Yep.
Second one. Somebody at the festival
did that. Did they? Okay. Second one.
Well, but yeah, it's definitely. I can't imagine anybody is going to be like, "Oh, I can't believe you would do that." Like, the movie came out in 1987. All right, that's when it was made. It just happened to come out this year. I mean, if they listen to the show and then they're watching the live stream, they'll understand the process that was involved with getting this, to the public. But I don't know. I think that's. I definitely don't think it's going to lose you any audience members, because the people are going to
political hit job of being held up for release because somebody didn't want it out there, and they fought us at every turn because of that. So, but
that's why it's
like the parallax view. We pushed on, and it almost cost us. But here it is. Did you guys like the trailer and how they treated? How it was treated of going back, and it was too scary to be released, as opposed to we ran out of money and we didn't know how to do it after 27 years.
I think that's a good call.
Yeah.
I think, it's creative license. You're in the world that you're creating. I do want to touch on one thing that I thought was, I think it might be my favorite part of the film, was the innovative power options that they used at the very beginning of the film to keep the lab running.
Yes.
We had such fun writing that. I mean, just literally giggling as we're writing it and acting it out at the same time. And I think that shows up on the screen because it just was so much fun to write and have at it.
And it's crazy. It struck a nostalgic nerve with me, because I remember, having these different electronics, and I was always struggling to find batteries. And most often the batteries that we had with the Ever-Readies with the cat on them.
Right.
That's the one.
Right.
I was like,
oh, man. You got every detail. You caught every detail, man. You have a sharp eye.
How many times have you watched it?
Once. I watched it once earlier today.
Wow. That's good. That's impressive. You have a good eye. That's for sure.
I like to look for details like that, and I find it fun to be like, I noticed this in your film. Like, is this your intention? And I get a lot of people saying like, no one has picked up on that.
I mean, obviously you saw the Folger can and the
plugged into the
the Electrolux vacuum cleaners in there too.
Yep, I had the same type of vacuum that my grandparents gave us. I remember pushing that thing around, and we never wanted to vacuum as kids. And my mom was like, "Well, how do you think Lou Ferrigno got so big and strong on the Incredible Hulk? He was vacuuming the house."
Good for tricep.
The brain transfer machine from that scene. There's two in the movie, but the one from that scene is the original prop that was the inspiration for the movie for Robin and I.
Excellent.
Do we have a minute to?
Yeah.
So we were both here in LA, aspiring actors. Jump in. Feel free to jump in at any time. And we had taken a job as PAs for the annual auto show.
I never heard the story. Please.
And this particular year, the auto show was on the Fox lot. So here we were, doing our thing as PAs, roaming around the Fox lot, and we came upon this big sound stage, huge, empty, completely empty, except for in the middle of the sound stage was this 1950s pedestal hairdryer. And he looks at me and he says, "What does that look like to you?" And simultaneously, we said a brain transfer machine.
Mm-hmm.
And
From a 50s sci-fi horror movie.
right. So, and I'm going to tell you this because I think the statute of limitations has run out. We went and got my car, heisted the machine, the hairdryer. It's actually the hairdryer that's in the movie. And took it home and set it up in the room, and it sat there while we wrote the thing. It was our inspiration.
But we took it out to the desert and sat out in the desert for quite a while with a coffee pot and
2 typewriters.
I don't know what the deal was with those mushrooms, but sure made my salad good. And then we brought it back and figured out how we were going to make this script. But it all started, as Richard said, from the hairdryer. So we set up the hotel, then we brought it back here, set it up in the living room, den, so we could fine tune it. Still this thing. Then we go back to Michigan. We break it down, ship it back, get it back to Michigan. And then, like 6 months after we wrote the script, there we were in this unbelievable laboratory from the 1950s with this same hairdryer that was in the 20th Century Fox lot and out in the Mojave Desert 6 months earlier. And now it's starring in a movie.
Talk about a rise to fame.
Crazy.
I was discovered in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Where is it now?
And somebody stole it at the end. Or they took it, and I think I know who it was, but if it's who I think it was, they certainly deserve it. But what's cool, and not everybody catches, is after the explosion, it's the same style, but it's a new 1950s, 60s hairdryer after the first one explodes in the opening scene.
Don't want to give too much away.
Well, I think written by Henry.
One of my favorite props was the frying pan with just all the little chips on it. Like I thought that was great because it definitely seems like an improvisational thing. Like I'm building this in my basement. I'm brilliant, but I don't have unlimited funds. I'm not Iron Man or Batman. Like I have to make do with what I have.
That's all he needs is some, transistors, electric fry pan. He's very resourceful.
A peanut butter jar.
And
Yeah. The thing was, and the set dresser, the production designer, both of them, Russ Pencil and my mind.
Vince?
I need a brain Vince Faust. Both did an incredible job on the set. I mean, they really did. Fantastic job. But a lot of that stuff, and taking nothing away from them, but like the fry pan, it literally says Folgers coffee can, a fry pan, an Electrolux an old hair.
The script does.
Yeah, the script is all of that description for that laboratory was in the script. And because it was such an important part for both Richard and I of this is how it's supposed to look and feel. And, they pulled it off.
For the most part, yep.
On the page, on the stage.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, as I'm seeing all these various product placements, I'm like, wow, their budget must have been huge. I mean, you got sponsorship from Eveready and Budweiser and Electrolux and Folgers. Oh, man, you guys must have been killing it.
We're waiting for the phone calls.
Well, my feeling, if it was P.T. Barnum, is, any publicity is good publicity. So if they take this small little film company that's been working for 34 years, trying to finish our movie, and they want to take us to court, then we'll just tell our story and they'll get a lot of publicity. I would love to do a 50-state and 50-day tour sponsored by Folgers.
I mean,
in old movie theaters.
I think it's a great idea.
Like the George Thorogood did with rock and roll in the 80s. You just 50 states, 50 tours in old 1920s vaudeville movie palaces. Spread the word.
I think people will. Do you think people will go back into movie theaters soon?
Oh, yeah. I think eventually. Like I know some people who already have.
Oh, they have.
A few, but I know just as many who are like, no, I'm one of those. Like I won't yet.
So I got a theory about this. When a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's the end of movie theaters, and we're never going to see them again and whatnot," once things start getting back to normal, I think people are get so sick of being stuck at home. It's going to be like the Roaring '20s again. If you look at what happened after the Spanish flu, it was a huge boon in the entertainment industry. It's just people wanted to get out and live life, and I think movie theaters are going to see numbers that they've never seen before. People
really?
are
I hope you're right, Leo. I hope you're right. Honest.
Yeah, me too.
It's a real drag right now. There's, I don't know how. The studios. I don't feel bad for the studios, but I know they have a lot of backlog of movies that they just,
Yeah. Well, Disney made a big announcement today that they're focusing more on streaming media. So maybe that's a call for them, the movies they have in the queue to go to streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't hurt. As long as you can get it out there, that's really the main thing is, I would expect that, folks like yourselves who are looking to find distributors, it might be a little easier because people are really struggling for, new entertainment. And, that's definitely something we all need at this point.
Yes. Laughs are good.
Exactly.
It is a good time for that. There's a high demand, and so
and especially if you come up with a good quality product like this. I had so much fun with this movie. It like I said, it's got that serious vibe to it, but it's also got like a Young Frankenstein or a Rocky Horror or a Phantom of the Paradise. It's got that cheeky wink at the camera. Life is a game, and I play with myself. That's it's such a great line, and he says it with such conviction. And it's oh, you're missing the but I need more brains.
Did you know what the ending was going to be without telling the ending?
I do not, but I did like the ending.
Okay.
Me too. I was just wondering if you saw what. Anyway.
Saw it coming. No,
yeah,
probably not. I don't. Well, good. I had
ideas, but I didn't think it was going to go that way. I mentioned this today about something where it's one of those you have these breadcrumbs that are laying out, in a movie like say Saw. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a scene where they make a point to discuss a specific patient. They're like, "Oh yeah, this patient here." The doctor's standing in his room, and he's like, "This patient, he did this," and he's referring to him like he's not even there. And one of the orderlies is like, "No, his name is John," and you're like, "All right, that's the guy. He did it." But when you find out where he was the whole time, you're blown away because it's like, okay, it's this guy, but it's like, whoa, it's that guy.
Yeah. Right.
So with this, you're like, okay, something's going to go on, and there's going to be something. They're going to be shifting and for lack of a better term, subverting my expectations, and the skill of the actors in the scene. Obviously, I'm talking about you as well. To pull off the ending and have it still be a surprise, even though there's a lot of foreshadowing. If you pay attention.
We did a really good job in the ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really well done, and I was very happy, very pleased with the way it ended. I thought you guys did a great job.
Good. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the prop. I know Robin does too. We've been to a couple of festivals, so we haven't seen an audience see a lot. We haven't seen an audience see it a lot. So there's things that we think might be funny or are working or not working, but until we see it, until we watch an audience, we don't really get an indication. And I think the first time we saw an audience watch it was pretty cool. It was really illuminating. We both sat in the back of the house and just watched and listened. And you see people's reactions.
As I look in doing, having done quite a bit of theater, and if it's supposed to be a comedy, that when that first laugh happens, it just is such a sigh of relief of like, okay, they're ready to laugh, they're going to laugh, shoo, you know, and it happens. A couple of small chuckles happen fairly early in the movie, and then there's a pretty big laugh a little bit. But once I heard those 3 laughs with our first big audience, I was just like, okay, we're good. I mean, if they're laughing at that, we're okay. And it's such a great feeling.
I can definitely guarantee you that, you know, there is absolutely an audience, like, especially for, you know, as we were talking about with, you know, independent filmmakers now, and fans of this genre, where, you know, if you pitch this movie to someone, like if I just went up to like one of my friends and I was like, listen, I just saw this movie the other day. I'm not going to tell you the name of it, but it's a movie that was filmed in 1987, and it didn't get released until last year on the festival circuit, but it's got a 4K restoration and Skywalker Sound. They'd be like, holy shit, I have to see it. And then if I say,
yeah, that sounds pretty good.
I don't even have to say the name, but if I say it's also called Housesitter, The Night They Saved Siegfried's Brain, it's like, okay, where can I get this? I need to see it right now. And I guarantee you the people who are watching this and people that I'm going to talk to about this film later on, because I'm also going to write you guys up a review, because I do reviews for my Throwdown Thursday website. I have to write a review about this because I enjoyed it that much. And
what kind of audience do you? How large of audience do you are you in contact with?
Not huge. I mean, it depends on what I'm writing about, but I do, you know, I have people who have started following me more now that I just released a book called How Much Do You Think an Exorcist? So there are people who know who I am because of that.
Well,
so I mean,
we appreciate your kind words.
Yes, absolutely. What a way to start the week.
And it's, yeah, like I said, you got a pretty sharp eye. You caught a lot of stuff. You got a lot of details.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys for putting all that stuff in the film.
All right.
I know we're coming up. Actually, we're a little bit past the hour. One thing, you know, I'm a little shocked we didn't even get to touch on, because Patrick is literally the biggest Simpsons fan that I know of.
Yeah. I have Bart tattooed on me.
Yeah, that's a commitment.
Patrick, I'm going to let you end it with any question you have regarding Simpsons wise.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know you worked on in the animation department for a significant time, 1993 to 2017. I have luckily had the opportunity to chat with another Simpsons alum, Michael Price, a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I will ask you one of the questions I asked him. Aside from Marge Simpson, who do you think is the most attractive woman in Springfield?
Edna.
Edna, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing that, you know, I'm making a joke out of it. If you want me to seriously say who's the most attractive, gosh, I couldn't say Mrs. Krabappel. Yeah.
I think she's the one who definitely has the she knows what she wants and she's not going to settle.
No. She got
even though she's desperately lonely and she wants a man, she's not going to settle. I mean, she went from Mo to Principal Skinner to
I think that's it. But I miss her.
She married.
I miss her. That's why I brought her up, I guess.
Yeah. That one. Celebrity deaths don't generally hit me, but where I grew up watching The Simpsons when I wasn't supposed to be, you know, this is, you know, 32 seasons of a show. Like, I started watching it when I was 7. You know, it's been such a huge part of my life, and it has informed so much of the type of stuff I like.
Phil Hartman also was crushing blow. It's crushing. You know, and I mean, not just to the show. It was crushing. He was such a sweet guy. But
I was a huge SNL fan at the time.
It was Mike Price is a great guy. He's a nice guy. He wrote the episode that we won an Emmy together. He wrote the episode. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's really. We discussed quite a bit of stuff, and I do occasionally keep in touch with him offline as well. You know, we check in with each other now and then to see how we're doing. Yeah, he's a nice guy. We had him on to talk about ethics for family as well. Yeah, he came on our show. We talked about Krusty the Clown. That was the character we covered. It was super cool. So, do you have a favorite episode?
I think my favorite is the movie, the Simpsons movie. I had a blast.
Yeah.
And it just, it was like the first time that the show really expanded in a lot of ways with, you know, different elements of animation. You know, everything all got tone shadows that didn't, you know, we had more refined effects. Everything changed from the movie. I mean, just talking from an animation point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, because you worked in the animation department for 24 years.
No. I was on the show 15 years.
Oh, because I was looking at the IMDb. It said 1993 to 2017.
No, because in '93, no, I didn't start on there.
Okay, all right.
Because I did before that King of the Hill for 4 seasons, and I just wrapped on Matt Groening's other show, Disenchantment. It's on Netflix.
I love Disenchantment.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to someone, and I'm like, there's this great line where these people are like riding on the back of the carriage, and it crashes in the water. They escape, and there's a woman like, you know, drowning. She's like, "Help! I'm drowning! Hi, I'm Elfo!" And they just walk away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason I did it is because of Matt Groening. I mean, he's a great guy. I really enjoyed working with him on The Simpsons, and I left The Simpsons to go to DreamWorks for something. And when that came up, I was like, yeah, I want to be there.
We do have one other question I thought earlier. Do you have any specific, you know, from any film that you've worked on, any series that you've worked on, is there a specific piece of memorabilia? And this is for either of you. Is there a specific piece of memorabilia that you have or you wish you could have grabbed to take home with you? You know, a la the hairdryer.
Yeah. Where is that piece of memorabilia that I was wearing the last time? Oh, yeah, I'll show you.
Ooh, excellent. I mean, I do like the brain in the background. That's, yeah.
What's that?
I said I do like the brain in the background.
Yes. You never know when you're going to need one.
There you go, baby.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this jumpsuit with you know, the added sequins and all that.
I'm going to make him take it home tonight. I've been hauling it around for 34 years.
It still fits.
Yeah, I think you can still see the six-pack underneath, and the only difference is the chest hair is now gray. On the DVD, when Richard's interview, he has that on.
Yeah, for the bonus material for my interview, I wear this.
I was going to ask if it still fits. That was going to be the
yeah.
We do have a question for the audience.
Yeah, so from people watching right now, they want to know, and I'm sure you can answer this. How did the Simpsons know the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Good writing.
Yeah,
really what it is you do so many episodes and you run out of story ideas, so you just, you know, eventually it's just throwing a dart at a dartboard. I don't know. I've read that. I've seen all that. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Yeah. Like the episode where Lisa's president, and she says, "We inherited quite the budget crunch from President Trump." It's
Yeah.
like, well, let's come up with something that'll never happen.
Yeah. Or you see the 20th Century Fox, and then below it says a division of the Walt Disney Company.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I believe that's pronounced drunk, if not, I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is correct.
If that's how they would have pronounced it on the show.
With the national chain of asylums to their name.
You guys have been great, and please pass the word.
We will.
Absolutely will.
Seriously, just appreciate so much having us on.
and we'll update you on the streaming situation ASAP as soon as it's ready.
And we'll spread the word to the other guys on our network as well. Maybe we can get you on a couple other shows to different audiences and stuff, because I know we loved it, and I'm sure a bunch of others will love it as well. And we're definitely going to spread the word as best as we can.
Yeah,
excellent.
Much appreciated. It's not just where somebody's saying, "Oh, we really loved it," but just the fact you're so specific with different things in the movie. It just made it like, boy, it's exciting when somebody actually notices some of the little things. And my line now is to tell people, if you haven't seen it 3 times, you haven't really seen it. So there's what I'm pushing now.
Well, I got another 2 times to watch it. Same with you, Patrick.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the kind words and your support.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I'm great.
We will all be in touch.
Sounds
absolutely
good. Later.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Well, I apologize. We had a little bit of a audio issue during that, but great time, and they're going to be on again. American, coming down the escalator. Yeah. Absolutely love it. Any last words, Patrick?
No, I think I was pretty good. I could have gone on with the Simpsons for, how many days are there? I could have just kept going, but that's how much I enjoyed this film. Is I was able to hold off on asking Simpsons questions because I wanted to talk about the process of this film, how much I enjoyed it. That should be, for anybody who knows me and has ever had a conversation with me, that should be an indicator to you. I had someone who worked on The Simpsons available to talk to about The Simpsons, and I talked about something else. That right there should be the best endorsement you could get.
Oh, totally. They are going to be on Still Token With, so maybe I'll talk to Ben, see if I can bring you on that day if you'd like to join as well. So
it depends on what day it is and what else is going on, because as you know, I have 650 shows a week.
Oh yeah, just 650.
I do almost as many as you. Like, this is the only one that I'm on that I don't produce.
But we're having fun at it, and speaking of that, and now I know they told us they're at Siegfried's Brain on social media. We didn't get that, but where do you like people following you?
The easiest place, throwdownthursdaypodcast.com, has all the links to all our social media, our merch store, my articles, including the review that's going to be coming up for this film, as well as you can find me at Patrick Rahal on Twitter and Instagram, at TD Thursday Pod on Twitter, at Throwdown Thursday Podcast on Instagram, and then our Facebook groups on Facebook. So there's Throwdown Thursday, there's Shark Bites, there's the Loudest Sports Show. If you swing by the Loudest Sports Show, chances are you'll see me and my brother arguing over who is better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan, and we get into some pretty serious debates. It's a lot of fun.
They played baseball, right?
Jordan did for a short time. Could have been pro at baseball, but LeBron did not.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I know it's.
Well, I mean, he did play baseball.
And for me, just Google Leo Pond. You'll find a bunch of stuff. But more importantly, head on over to thedorkening.com where you can find all the shows on the network. And and definitely, follow Patrick and all the stuff he does. He's awesome at it. And we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.